Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a happy Monday and a great start to your weeks. Today we're going to be diving into Cardano. We're going to be doing a number of things in this video. We're going to be discussing our previous end of year price prediction, how we came up with this, and really addressing the fact that it's not going to make that target, certainly by the end of this year. The target that we had was $7.50 to $10. And that was following Elliott wave theory. And the reason we came up with that price prediction was due to something called the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory. The fact that we had followed it pretty accurately today, and we were expecting a 2017 or prior to that 2013-esque end to this year where we see a parabolic kind of mania phase. We see prices shoot up, and we thought Cardano would have a good chance, along with following your Elliott wave theory, of getting towards $7.50 to $10 by the end of the year. It seems that that is no longer the case, and that's what I want to address in this video. We're also going to be talking about what the case potentially could be, and how we kind of see Cardano and crypto grow. So we've got a lot to get through in this video. This is a video I'm sure many of you will appreciate. Take a look at the markets, doom and gloom, ladies and gentlemen, but I do not feel one bit bearish, which seems quite funny. But hopefully those reasons why I'm not bearish in the slightest are going to become very apparent. Let's start with my price prediction. And what I'm going to do in this video is show you the kind of trajectory that Cardano could potentially be taking, and how we could see continuous growth with kind of smaller boom and bust cycles, whereas typically with Bitcoin, and it's the whole concept of the 4-year cycle theory, you have these kind of boom and bust cycles. These are, of course, centered around the halvening. These lines, green lines, are indeed the halvening when they take place. And you can see this is, of course, is Bitcoin's life history on a chart. You can see, so this is Bitcoin's life history from 2010. You can see every halvening is in green. You can see what happens to the price after that. Now, of course, these bar patterns are previous cycles. One thing that's absolutely apparent is that cycles are lengthening and the ROI is decreasing, the law of diminishing returns. So I actually think we're in for a lot longer cycle. I actually think that cycles could take a different approach. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at technologies and companies that have came out of technology, show that fundamentally they're very similar to what we're currently going through with crypto, and show you the kind of growth of this. They have a boom and bust as well, but what comes after this when you start to see true adoption is what we're going to look at in relation to ADA. So this is a very informative and interesting video. We're addressing a lot of stuff. Let's talk about our price prediction. Now, Cardano, first of all, lots of people calling for a, let me find my Bitcoin chart, a bear market. You are not confirmed to be in a bear market yet, ladies and gentlemen. On a macro scale, you're still putting in higher highs and higher lows, and we're expecting continuation. In fact, if you want to talk about a macro scale, look at this for a macro scale. What you're seeing here is the more people that adopt it, the higher the price floor goes. This is what you're looking at with Bitcoin. So you're not in, and we're looking at Bitcoin because it's the tide that rises and sinks all ships. We've seen that over the past couple of days. You know, there's a lot going on. We do daily market updates where we cover everything, not just in the crypto space, but in the traditional financial realm. So you're not in a bear market yet, ladies and gentlemen. When would I be panicking for Bitcoin? Well, if you start to take this low out here, can you see how you've not even took this previous low and high out? If you start to take that out, then we need to start taking a closer look. But as far as I'm concerned, you're still in a bull market in a very volatile asset class. People that are new to crypto, this is quite worrying and alarming. This has happened countless times, certainly as long as I've been in crypto, and I'm sure as long as many of you. In the last year or so, this has happened quite a few times. In fact, we saw a 55% drop from the top. Actually, I think it was more than that. 55% drop within Bitcoin that we recovered from. Everybody was screaming for a bear market here, and we actually went on to put in a new high, all concluding to our macro continuation. So the $7.50 to $10 price prediction was really based on the fact that we were going to finish the year in a 2017 or 2013 fashion. That, of course, in hindsight, would probably been a bit easy to predict. It hasn't gone that way. So what does that mean for Cardano? Well, does that mean that, you know, we're now going to enter a bear market, or we're going to zero? Remember, there's a lot of credence to the fact that prices or bull cycles are lengthening. The crypto sort of cycles are lengthening. And we're actually now what you've got to understand is when we were following this 4-year cycle theory, market conditions are very different since then. So, for example, El Salvador didn't adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. We don't have, or certainly didn't have, the traditional financial players involved in our space. We know that lots of big companies, JP Morgan and so on, actually own Bitcoin in the form of GBTC. This is a trend we're going to see continue. So it's a more mature market that may not get driven as much by the halvenings and this causing a supply shock, and more by adoption and that continued adoption. So we're going to talk about what cycles could look like. So it does indeed look like, certainly by the end of the year, you are not going to get to $7.50 to $10. Let me make this point absolutely apparent. Does that mean that we're never going to get to $7.50 to $10? Absolutely not. I think Cardano is going to go above and beyond $7.50 to $10. When you really understand, one reason people get so shaken out during these time periods is because they've not done their due diligence. They don't understand what they're investing in. This technology has the capabilities of changing the world and how it operates. And if implemented and successful, the early adopters of it, the early purchasers of it, are going to be rewarded more than those people that bought Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft back in the early days, because it has a far wider reach than some of these protocols. Not only is it and can it do and be built on top of some of the, in a kindred fashion to Amazon and all these things, but it actually is the very infrastructure that will run a large section of the world. So there's a huge amount going on. And just to make this point apparent, Ethereum is at nearly $500 billion in terms of market cap. I think Cardano can absolutely get there. People ages ago said that Bitcoin could never get to $1 trillion. As we see this space grow and gain adoption, the market caps are going to move up. We'll see Cardano where Ethereum is in terms of market cap. Absolutely possible. And a 10x from where we currently are, it's more than a 10x for us to get to $500 billion, would see us at $13 Cardano price. You're going to see that certainly into the future. So talking about this bull market, first of all, I don't think we've finished this bull market. Yes, we're not going to see a 2017 or 2013 end to the year like the kind of Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory would have us believe. But that's okay. That just means cycles, and there's evidence for them right here with these cycles are taking longer. You are still going to have this halvening effect that is going to cause a supply shock within Bitcoin. But I actually think that this cycle is going to go on for longer, and you're going to top out into next year potentially. Who really knows? But one thing that's for certain is it's not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. And this brings me on to my next point. Cardano, we're trapped in this range right now, guys. I would quite like to see us break this falling wedge. You've got a bullish divergence on your RSI here very, very quickly on the short term. Can you see that? You're putting in lower lows here, but you've actually got higher highs on your RSI. So this Elliott wave theory structure that we have in play very quickly, and you guys know that I think we're on our third wave within our fifth wave. So this is going to be a very big wave. This is going to, in my opinion, coincide with DeFi and that around the corner. This has not been invalidated to date. You have not put in a macro lower low at any point here. And how you invalidate your Elliott wave theory structure is if your pullback wave comes below where you first started your impulsive wave. You've still not done that today. This is still an uptrending market, ladies and gentlemen. Let me switch the charts very quickly, get a clearer chart for you. So if we drop it to a weekly, it's very apparent. Monthly is too much. What's going on? Now stick around, guys. There's a very important point that I'm about to get on to show you how potentially cycles could look as we're now in more of a mature market. From where we started in March, you've just gone on to put in higher highs and higher lows continuously, ladies and gentlemen. Can you see this? You didn't even put in a lower low here. You've now put in a higher high, and you're potentially putting in a lower low. You panic when you come below here because it invalidates the entire Elliott wave theory structure that we have in play. So that's an important thing to remember. This still isn't a bearish trend. It's still a bullish trend, just with a severe pullback. Remember, crypto is very volatile. We've seen a lot of the traditional financial elements affect our market now, etc., etc. So this is all stuff to bear in mind. Lots of people panicking, lots of people saying, oh, well, you said $7.50 to $10 by the end of the year. I'm not a guru. That's not a term that I use to describe myself. I'm also not a clairvoyant. I cannot tell you, and nobody on this planet can tell you what price a certain cryptocurrency is going to be on a certain day. We can take our best estimate of where we could get to, and we've already told you why we said $7.50 to $10 and how that's no longer going to be in play because we have data to suggest otherwise, and people go, well, you can't change your mind. Changing your mind as an investor is part of your success. And what I mean by that is you can't just stick to one narrative and ignore any external data. I would much rather listen to somebody that changes his mind based on what's going on than somebody that just is stubborn and sticks to one narrative and refuses to listen to any kind of external forces. And the data that I'm talking about is the fact that we just simply haven't seen a parabolic uptick. That doesn't mean that it isn't coming. It could come later down the line and kind of really still tie in with the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory, but or the lengthening cycle theory, but in a longer fashion. So that's really where we're at. I still think we're in a bull market, guys. I don't think we've got the signs to suggest otherwise. I don't think there's need for panic. I think when you look at what's around the corner for ADA, certainly we've got a DeFi video coming out after this one. I'm exceptionally excited about what the future holds. And I think you guys should be too. You know, if crypto really is the new thing, there's a lot of reason to be excited. What I now want to talk to you about, and this is something that we spoke about in yesterday's video, but I really want to highlight this because what we did in yesterday's video, and we've done this since Bitcoin was, under $10,000, and I've done this certainly longer before I had the YouTube channel, was we looked at things like Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft, and we compared the dot-com boom with what Bitcoin saw in 2017. Too many charts here. So this is, of course, 2017 for Bitcoin, and you can see something like Amazon, you follow it very closely, Apple, and of course Microsoft. And this was the dot-com boom where we saw the boom and kind of bust. But what came after that may be the sort of trajectory that cryptocurrencies are about to see. So if we take Cardano, for example, you can see you've gone through this bear market and now you're at the other end of it in a bull market. And within this, you've got boom and busts. Certainly Bitcoin is really driving this. You can see you've got your boom and busts. And I would argue one thing that really made people first think, well, hang on, maybe we're not following the 4-year cycle theory so well is because of this huge, massive dip and the kind of prolonged period within it. And now we know we're not seeing that kind of parabolic end to the year. So what kind of a market could we take? Now, if we look at something like Amazon, you can see what Amazon did. You have these boom and busts, but they're more short-lived, somewhat more frequent, but you can see that you continue in more of you don't have that sort of long drawn out bear market. You have more short and snappy rallies as the market matures, which is what we're dealing with crypto. Can you see these short, sharp rallies? But ultimately you come out the other end. I actually believe, and this is Apple, which is probably more a kindred to Cardano, that you can already see you've got these boom and busts. Can you see? You come up, you make a high, you come down, you make a huge low, you continue in a macro continuation pattern. Can you see this? You have some peaks and troughs within that. But ultimately, we all know the story of where Apple is today, where Amazon is. And this fundamental, people go, oh, well, you can't compare Amazon with crypto because they're fundamentally different. Absolutely they are. You've completely missed the point in what I'm trying to say here. You have the internet, which is a technology, and you have stocks to come out of it. We know that obviously Apple and Microsoft came out sort of before the whole dot-com boom. And then essentially, you have these technological revolutions and you have products to come out of it. You've got the internet and these stocks. You've got crypto or blockchain and these cryptocurrencies. That's the comparability here. Fundamentally, there's similarities, and certainly technically, if we look at the charts, there's similarities. And if we take a look at Microsoft had a lot more of a prolonged bear market, but then they saw some real uptick. So this could be the sort of trajectory that we're on. I don't think we're in going into a bear market. I think potentially we may just have shorter, more small, drawn-out pullbacks with more continuation. And I think that's how this could look. But we will keep you up to date on this theory. We're going to do more covering on it. Nobody's really comparing these to the dot-com boom and what came after that and these and how, there's definitely similarities there. But we are going to cover this in a lot more detail. So hang in there, guys. That's not financial advice. That's personally what I'm doing. I'm going to be holding on to all my Cardano. I really believe in what the product's trying to do. I'm also going to be holding on to the vast majority of my crypto. Certainly, I won't be selling any on this dip. I'll be looking to maybe exit certain positions at a higher price because I still think we're in a bull market. I don't think we have that confirmation of a bear market just yet. And in actual fact, don't think that we are going to potentially get one. Crypto is so new, and I know it might not seem like that because of where the market cap is, etc., etc. The dot-com boom, guys, got to $5.5 trillion back in 1999. $5.5 trillion back then is probably worth $20 trillion today, guys. So we're still very early in this. I do believe that you are getting shaken out, and this is why you need to be rooted within your belief so that then you're like a tree, and every time there's a gust of wind, you don't get knocked about. Is $7.50 to $10 out of the question? Certainly by the end of this year, it looks very much like that is the case. But does that mean we're never going to get there? Absolutely not, guys. In fact, I think Cardano is going to see an Ethereum market cap. Ethereum is going to see a Bitcoin market cap, and so on. And we're just going to continue to grow as a market. There's still trillions of dollars to flow in from the traditional financial world into this one. We don't even have regulatory clarity. You are still new. If you look at the amount of people that actually own cryptocurrencies, it's very small in relation to the world's population. If you look at the people that actually use cryptocurrencies in relation to the people that actually hold cryptocurrencies, it's a percentage of that, a single percent of that. So that's really all I have for you in this video, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. I felt like this was an important video to address a few things, to really give you some of my updated opinions, you know, and really stress, does this mean that we're not going to $7 to $10? It means we're not going there by the end of the year. You know, we've not followed this 4-year cycle theory to date. That's not an excuse. That's what I based it on. And we're acting accordingly now. And I'm still hanging on to every single Cardano until we start to come and validate some of these lows and put in that new low in the macro trend. Then we start to panic. Until then, I don't think we're going to get there. We're going to be hanging on and staking. Remember, guys, I do have a Discord. The link is in the description. I also have the stake pool all in. We continue to grow despite the market downturn in terms of delegators, which I'm hugely grateful for. So if you guys want to stake, you're welcome to come over to our pool. All in is the ticker, the official All In Crypto stake pool. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next YouTube video. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen.